And the great part is you get a lot of guys back next year. Now, the offensive line is losing 3 starters. Not great, but you are bringing back the 2 main guys in your interior, in Trevor Bohr and Brennan Black. You have Vaye Ikakula in here someplace. You've got Cool that slides in there someplace. You've got Austin Barrett. You've got plenty of guys in that room that I think will step up, and I think that will be a good offensive line, especially because now we've got proof that the Iowa State football program has a good offensive line in them, that they can produce a really good offensive line. And Ryan Clanton has turned out to be worth every penny that we pay him and more. And when he got hired, we were talking about it on Down the Pipe and Natty Light. For anybody listening, we were talking about that group. We thought the Clanton hire was one of the best of the Campbell era as far as assistant coaches go. We thought he would be able to get this offensive line in a good shape, and they are. I mean, especially with his philosophy, it was a matter of time before those guys developed, or they were able to be in the system, and they were able to be a really, really good run blocking unit. And sure as shit, they are. It's a really good offensive line, and it's a shame that I think that they probably just missed the cut for like the Joe Moore Award, but gosh, they're a good unit. And they've got guys, you're going to lose a few guys, but you're going to bring in some really talented guys next year that I think will make a big impact there as well. Like I'm really excited to see like Cool and Vaye Ikakula added into the mix someplace. Like maybe they move Brendan Black inside to center finally, and actually follow through on that. Put Brendan Black at center, and then put Ikakula or Cool at right guard, and then figure out a tackle or some situation like that. Like, there's a lot of fun possibilities that you can do with that offensive line. And, he won't be ready next year because he'd just be a senior in high school next year. But then they've got Will Slagle coming down the line, one of the recruits that committed this past weekend, 4-star in-state offensive line legacy that committed while he was in the tailgate lots, which if you want to become an instant like cult hero at Iowa State, you be a 4-star in-state offensive lineman that commits while they're tailgating in the parking lot at Jack Trice Stadium. That is how you become a fan favorite immediately. So that was really, really cool. Like, that was an amazing moment. He went on Facebook Live and committed and everything. It was incredible. But back to the game. This was, you can't say it's like a perfect performance, I guess, but it was. I mean, it's about as close to perfect as you can ask for, really. The Kansas never threatened. They obviously led from the beginning and just dominated this thing start to finish. They didn't let up in the second half. It's a generous thought, though I have some reservations of Iowa 4-stars. We haven't had the best luck with them. I mean, Alan Lazard was pretty good, I would say. Abu Sama wasn't a 4-star, but he was like really close to it, and he's been a pretty good player. And Abu Sama's ceiling almost maybe a victim of the fact that just Carson Hansen is also there. Like, I think Iowa State is better with Hansen and Sama, but like, if Sama was the only starting back, he was the bell cow back, kind of like Breece Hall and David Montgomery. We might be talking about him the same way. And there's been a couple other 4-stars that haven't panned out, but like, I mean, like Hunter Deo didn't pan out, and like there's a couple other guys, but like I think the point that Iowa 4-stars fail out, I think it's a little overblown. Because like, I mean, obviously it's gotten 4-stars from other places that didn't work. Greg Gaines, I believe he's playing at the University of Maine now, Rhode Island. He's playing up in New England, which is now football hotbed, New England. That is. Greg Gaines didn't work out. Hunter Deckers, I guess, is the other one that you're like probably like, oh, he didn't work out. He's a 4-star. But let me see here. I can find this. Let's see here. 247 is a little slow right now. I was looking for the all-time commitments, but we've had other commitments that just didn't work out. I mean, that's not, shit happens, and maybe it feels like it's more frequent than usual. Of course, the page isn't working, but of course it feels like it's more frequent than usual because Oh, JJ, sure. I think it feels more frequent than usual because we don't get a lot. Like Iowa produces probably more 4-star recruits than you think they do. Just a lot of them go to Iowa, or if they're really good, they go someplace else. Or even the 5-star recruits, they'll go someplace else. You know, if you remember the class with Caden Proctor, went to Alabama, then Xavier Wampa went to Iowa. You know, yeah, but yeah, no, yeah. No, I get it that you're kind of is mostly in jest, but like I actually have heard that point made though that like Iowa 4-stars don't work out at Iowa State, and I think it's a little overblown. But uh, you know, this is one. It's a lineman. We know that we have a good offensive line coach. This isn't like, I would say it's not quite like Hunter Deckers, let's say, where he's coming from a really small school and you know, he's lighting it up at 1A or like class A or 8-man football or whatever it was. I think I think maybe like just like single A maybe. Um, and then but he goes and kills it at camps and stuff like that. Like, and JJ wasn't at a small school, but he was also, he's like prototypical size. He's like 6'5". He's huge. He's a really, really tall kid. So like physically he's there and he goes, he's an all-star at camps and all that. So like sometimes those don't work out. But I feel like offensive line is a little bit different where, especially if you're going to have, Deckers was good, just dumb. And also got fucked by the state, which he did. I do think that had Hunter Deckers stuck around and played out the rest of his career how he kind of thought it would, which I believe he would have, because he would have just graduated last year. Had he been able to do that, I really do think by the end of his career he would have been a really nice player. But because he just had tons of raw talent. I mean, the raw talent was very obvious. It just didn't work out because of all the gambling stuff. But obviously, it's worked out for Iowa State generally speaking because of Rocco. But I'm not particularly worried about Will Slagle not working out. Like if you just look at the kid, watch his tape, he's enthusiastic about being here. He looks like he's a classic like Iowa farm kid and looks like every single lineman that Iowa's ever pumped into the NFL. Decker's not running enough, I think is an interesting one. I think that was part because back then they were still on like senior Brock Purdy mode where they were trying to just preserve Brock Purdy his last year, and then they just didn't let Hunter run. But either way, Will Slagle, he's going to have a really, really good position coach. I firmly believe he will be a 4-year starter at Iowa State. Like I think he'll redshirt, and then I think he will force his way onto the field. I think he'll be a 4-year starter at Iowa State. And I think it'll be pretty awesome. I actually did get a couple other recruits this past just yesterday. I think we had 3 of them. We had a flip, a safety flip from Army, when they had a tight end and a receiver flip from Colorado. Either of them are like the safety and the tight end. The tight end was a nice flip. Specifically, I'm pulling them up here. Give me 1 second. So I'll show you the safety first. Tayton Duncan is his name. He's an 88, so he's a high 3-star. He was an Army commit. 5'11", 185 out of Mustang, Oklahoma. We've gotten players out of Mustang, Oklahoma before. It's a good high school program. He's got Iowa State, West Virginia, Army. Not like a crazy offer list, but if you have, assuming that Caprice Keith flips to Kansas State to play receiver there, which that seems like that's kind of like the prevailing thing that's going to happen. I guess I don't know if he's like still technically committed to us, but he's taking a visit to Kansas State like probably this week or next week, and Kansas State wants him to play receiver, which it sounds like he wants to play receiver. So we'll see how that works out. I think they're kind of just assuming that they're going to lose Caprice Keith, because Iowa State wants him as a safety. But it kind of is what it is. Actually, in a couple of years, if you can get Mason Bandauer, get Mason Bandauer ready to go with Will Slagle, that'd be a nice pair of tackles right there for you. And this Ajibula Afuye, I think is also a really, really nice player that, I think this is a really nice pair of offensive, he's a defensive lineman. I think I saw that they could potentially play him at offensive line, but I'm not sure. He may be just committed as D line. But the tight end commit, they got Arlie Morrill. He's from Pratt, Kansas. He was a Colorado State commit, 6'6", 210, so he's a little bit on the light side, but they can put weight on him. Iowa State, Colorado State, Oregon State, Arizona for his main offers. 87 rating on 247 for whatever that's worth. They needed to get a tight end this class. They, after just losing out on every single damn tight end commit in the class, every single high end tight end target that they went after, they just lost every single damn one of them. And it's, so that was a nice win to get. The receiver they flipped was Cash Brock here. He's from Chandler, Arizona. He's 84, so he's kind of a low 3-star. He's got actually basically the same offer list as the tight end. We'll see. I haven't got a chance to watch him a ton yet. Let's see. So he's actually flipping for this class. Let's see here. Catch him, find him downfield. Oh. Thanks, cameraman. Just okay, that's a nice little block there. Granted, these are highlights, so they're just like they're gonna look good. But nice snag, little run after the catch. Yeah, we'll see. Oh, no, we'll see what he does. I mean, just on those like 5 plays what I've watched there, like I mean, his athleticism doesn't necessarily like blow me away, but he runs hard. I mean, he plays hard. We'll see what happens there. He's more of a developmental prospect, I think. But I mean, this staff has been good at finding kind of diamonds in the rough, especially at receiver. They've done a pretty good job. We'll see there. Duke says the DN has some nasty film. Are you talking about Afuye? Or I guess who are you referring to? I'm assuming you're referring to Afuye because his film is quite good. He's a really player. Just fighting through a run block there. Oh, I guess you guys can't really see it very well, but yeah, unfortunately, this isn't super conducive to watching it on here. Let's see. There's a Fouye right there off the edge. Nice job fighting through a block. Goes and chases him down. Oof, good hit. Went off the edge there. Fighting through some blocks. I like that. Needs to get his leverage down a little bit and get a little more bendy. But overall, blocked kick. Nice. He's a touch stiff, but like overall, I like what I see here. I mean, he's definitely like a good like college position coach, making a couple tweaks away from being from being like really, really, really interesting. Because if you watch him right here, so he's pushing off. Especially when he's sitting on like on a read option, something like that. He tends to stay a little upright. So like a college offensive tackle is going to push him around a little bit just because of that form. But I mean, the athleticism is clearly there. He plays with a good drive. He's playing a little upright. He needs to learn to play with leverage, but that can be easily corrected by position coaches. So overall, though, obviously it's got a nice little class that they've put together here. Up to 47th in the country, which is kind of towards the top end of where Iowa State typically ends up hanging out. I think their last few classes have been kind of in that neighborhood. 2025 was 57. Oopsies. Yeah, we already got Vaea Kakula. 71. I mean, like there's Marcus Neal. I didn't realize that Marcus Neal was a 4-star. Nice. He's been awesome. Even when you had JJ Cole and Abli Sama and a few of these guys in this class, Ben Bramer, they're sitting at 61. So right now, we'll see how this class shakes out, like as the class kind of winds down. But right now, they're in a spot to be one of the best classes in of recent years. I love Jeffrey Roberts in this class. Kid can fly. He's going to be a really good receiver at Iowa State. They've got a few guys in this year I really am really excited about. So, we'll see how it all works out. But I think the flips they got this past week were much needed at a couple positions. And overall, I'm pretty happy with what they got for sure. So, all right. Does anybody have any other thoughts on this game they wanted to get there? So I was trying to catch every comment I could. I'm going to go back through here and see if I can find any of the other ones I didn't. Guess I don't see. I think I got them all. But,